Hey bag ladies and bag dudes, today I'm going to be talking about the wrist ruler, the Reason to Bag and Park Sling backpacks that I made this past week, Amy Butler fabrics, a new backrest that I got for my sewing room chair. The book review will be for Pin Pals. I'll be demonstrating Odicoat, and there's a great giveaway at the end. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Social Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everyone, happy Sunday or Monday afternoon, depending on what part of the world that you live in. Welcome to Social Sunday. I see Kathy's watching from Southern Florida, Diana also from Florida. Hey Charlie, Charlie's watching from Connecticut. Tammy's also watching. Welcome everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I was kind of laughing in my head right before the show got started. We got everything set up an hour before the show. And then a few minutes before the show, I asked Danny to refocus the camera because there's a big TV screen in front of me so I can see myself and what I'm talking about, and when I hold things up, I can see the questions on the screen as well. So I asked Danny to refocus it because it looked to me a little bit off focus, and he said he thought he did it right the first time, but he checked again and he said, you know, it's right, you're mistaken. And I said, yeah, it's probably just me. My contact lenses have been bothering me lately, so I thought maybe I was just seeing out of focus. And he said he knew it was right because he could see the wrinkles on my face. And I know he didn't mean it as a jab because he got right back to work on the computer, but I don't think he even realized what he said. But I kind of stopped and I was like, hey, what do you mean wrinkles on my head? I was thinking that in my head, but...
You're almost 40, Sarah.
Danny, I don't know if you heard Danny, but he said I'm almost 40, implying that, yeah, there should be wrinkles on my face. Thank you, Danny. So a friendly reminder, just about everything that I talk about during Social Sunday are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but just cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. And everything that I'm scheduled to talk about, I link to in the description. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of the notions, fabrics, books, or projects that I talk about during Social Sunday, just check that link in the description and you can find more information that way. So the notion of the week this week sort of doubles as a notion and as a fashion accessory. It comes in this little tin, but I'm going to jump over to the side camera and show you so that you can get a close-up view. This is the wrist ruler from a company called I Love Handles, and they're from Oregon. And it comes in this cute little tin. There's several colors. There's neutral colors as well as some bright colors. And it is a leather wrist ruler. So it comes in both inches and centimeters. And when I first got it, I was a little bit skeptical because sometimes, especially with inexpensive measuring tapes and the like, the measurements are not exact. But I held it up to my quilting ruler, and yes, the inch measurements were 1 inch, 2 inch, what they should be. And there's also centimeters on there as well. So it actually wraps around your wrist twice. There's instructions on the I Love Handles website for measuring your wrist to get the appropriate length. And as I said, you can this is difficult to do one-handed. As I mentioned, you can choose your colors. I noticed there were some newer bright colors like turquoise and red. That's hard to do one-handed. All right. So there's a little hole and a little slit for you to put this little bit of hardware through, and that's what the wrist ruler looks like. And I think it's kind of cool. I like that it wraps around twice, but always helpful. I find that especially when I'm out and about, either at the hardware store, at the fabric store, I never have a ruler handy when I need one, and this ensures if you're wearing this as jewelry that you always have accurate measurements when you need them. So again, this is the wrist ruler by I Love Handles, and the link is in the description. So I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, what jewelry do you wear daily? So I actually stopped wearing rings. Well, I guess funny story about my wedding ring. You probably know that I worked in pet stores for 14 years. After I developed an allergy, I was taking care of the fish tanks and the reptiles. So I was really big into cleaning fish tanks. I know it sounds crazy, but to me it was really relaxing when I had a baby and a toddler at home. And I was cleaning the tanks one night in the evening, and when I went home I realized I didn't have the ring on. So I thought that I had lost it in one of the fish tanks while I was cleaning. Well, there were tons of fish tanks. It could be anywhere. and the gravel in the fish tanks was neutral colors, and the ring would blend in the gravel. So I went back to work. The store was closed. I opened everything back up after hours to check for the ring, and I couldn't find it. I called Danny. I'm like, the ring's gone. I can't find it. I don't know what to do. Long story short, it ended up being in the bedroom on the dresser. I didn't even have it on my hand cleaning fish tanks. I somehow must have left it at home before I went to work, but certainly a very stressful evening. And so not because of that, but I'm just not a big jewelry wearer. Once in a while, I'll remember, like before the show tonight, I remembered to put a necklace on just to make myself look a little bit more presentable. But I oftentimes forget to wear jewelry, or I just don't know what I should wear to go with certain outfits. I'm just sort of clueless in that department, so I don't often wear it. But once in a while, I'll remember to put a necklace on. This past week, I got a whole bunch of sewing done. We were busy finishing filming up the videos for the 4-pack video bundle for this week. We have like one video left and like a quarter of the third video left to film. And so I wanted to show you the projects that I made this week while we were filming. So, oh, this is totally my favorite, but this is the Park Sling backpack in size small. So there's a bigger size. I have that one on the floor behind me almost finished, but I made this using cotton and steel fabrics, and this is actually nylon zippers with metallic looking teeth. So I'm really pleased with how this came out. I think I'll keep this one for myself as well as that green one that I made earlier. And I also made a reason to bag with a little bit of cork, and I used that Marimekko fabric that I showed you, I think it was last Sunday. So also like how this came out. I chose sort of a piping color that would blend in, which I'm not sure if I'm disappointed with or not, but looking at my piping, I'm like, wow, my piping turned out awesome, but you can hardly see it because it blends in. But anyway, this is the medium size reason to bag. There's also a small and a large. So the small is a really good handbag sized bag, and the large, I guess either the medium or large would be good travel bags for putting clothes or lots of things in, books and magazines while you're flying, that kind of thing. I'd like to invite you now, all the bag ladies and bag dudes, be proud about it. I'm a proud bag lady. I know there's some bag dudes watching as well. Let me know in the comments. Regardless if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and type either bag lady or bag dude in the comments right now. I super appreciate all of you being part of the bag making community. I saw a couple of days ago, I think it was the Washington group had a meetup, and they met at a Mexican restaurant and went to a quilt shop. So love not only the general Sew Sweetness Facebook group, but also that we have, Danny said California had a meetup as well. There are state and country groups if you'd like to perhaps meet a bag lady, meet some bag ladies or bag dudes in person. I have that link in the description if you're interested in joining your state group. I got a couple emails today asking about particular state groups. I think Florida was one of them, and so I hope you'll join not only our main Facebook group, but also your local Sew Sweetness group as well. All right, so new fabric in my stash, well, not super new, and I couldn't remember if I've shown you this fabric in the past, but I pulled it out because I'm going to be using it for the yarn minder video that we'll be filming tomorrow. And so gosh, I have terrible memory, so I apologize if I showed you this fabric in the past, but I'm going to step over to the side camera and show you this fabric from Amy Butler. Okay, so you know me, I'm a fan of large scale prints, and so this one is indeed large scale. It's sort of a floral stripe, if you will, except the stripes are super huge. Here's my scissors for scale, I guess, of how big the flowers are. So this is just, I guess, vertical. Yeah, you can zoom out. That would be great. Thank you. All right, so as you can see, the flowers are large. I was thinking of using this for the yarn minder bag with the grommets on the top, and then I have another, I don't think I've shown you the drawstring yarn minder, but I was planning on using this fabric also by Amy Butler for that one. So the yarn minder features 3 different styles of bags that would be great for toting your yarn for your knitting or crochet projects. So one bag has a zipper lid with grommets, another bag has a flap, so no zippers, no grommets, because I've heard that knitters and crocheters, some of them do not like zippers or grommets near their yarn. And then there's a third bag, which is super fast and easy, which just features a drawstring, so you can carry a couple projects with you while you're working on them, as well as your yarn. So again, both of these are from Amy Butler. I love her colors. I'm so sad that she won't be designing fabric anymore, but I certainly have tons of Amy Butler fabric in my stash to last me quite a while. So I'm always looking for ways to help my posture, especially with my horseback riding, and so I picked up this backrest. I've had it in my Amazon wish list for a couple months now, and I figured, why is it still on my wish list? Why didn't I just pick one up? So it's right behind me in my chair. I'll pull it off the chair just so I could show it to you, but it's made a huge difference. I felt so much more comfortable in the sewing room since I've installed this. Again, I purchased it from Amazon. It's a memory foam, and as you can see, it's sort of got a curvature, and also in the center of it, it's also curved this way as well. So your back kind of just fits right inside of it. It's got two elastic side release buckles. I just used the top one, and there's also extensions. So realistically, I think it would fit on just about any chair. So I got the idea for this backrest. Let me just put that to the side for now. I've recently started going to see a chiropractor, and not that I have pain or need a ton of things done, but I basically just go for adjustments. Danny goes for help with his back pain as well. And I got the idea for picking up that backrest because they have two chairs at my chiropractor's office, like office chairs, and they're so brilliant. And they have a similar type of backrest on these chairs. It's built into the chairs. I like my sewing room chair, so I didn't want to purchase a whole brand new chair. But I came across that backrest, and it was a really good solution to my need or want for having some sort of back structure in my chair. So again, I'm really happy with it. I'm also signed up for also at my chiropractor's office. They have yoga and Pilates classes, and they're starting a Pilates class first week in February on Wednesdays. Their previous class was on Tuesdays, so I could never go, but they changed the day, so I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be getting a couple of friends to go with me, and just looking forward to I don't know, building up my flexibility, and of course the core strength is the biggest thing for me. So I guess I'm not super nervous, but I'm just curious. I don't really know anything about Pilates, but looking forward to taking that class, and hopefully it'll help, and hopefully it'll make me feel, not that I feel bad, but like make me feel better, have more energy, because I'm doing some form of exercising. All right, so the book review for this week is for a book called Pin Pals. It's a super cute book, and I'm going to jump over to the side camera and flip through some of the pages. All right, so this is Pin Pals. It's written by Carrie Nelson, and it's 40 patchwork pin cushions. Most of them are squares or rectangles. This one's my favorite over here. It's a round shape. And let me open the book and show you what it's all about. So everything's covered with illustrations and very clear instructions. Supplies at the beginning. As you're familiar with most sewing books, they have the basics at the beginning of the book. She suggests using crushed walnut shells in the pin cushions, which sounds pretty good to me, inexpensive for the pin cushion filling. And I'm going to flip through the book and show you most of the projects. Okay, so I'm going to cover some of the instructions because it's basically just one page of instructions for most of the projects. I don't want to give away the secret sauce, but as you can see, I really like that really long one. I could see that as being a really cool, what's it called? Danny, what's this called over here for your keyboard? Like a wrist rest or something. Wrist rest for your keyboard. I could see that pin cushion being really good for that. Here's a basic one with just some strips and some squares. Obviously not a lot of fabrics needed for any of these projects, so you can dig into your scrap pile, whatever scraps that you have left over from making some bags.
Piece of paper, you can still see a lot of it.
Oh, okay, thank you. I know. I really love the rainbow color ones, as you know, really catch my eye. That bear paw is super cute. That one's made for Halloween. Here's another longer one. Here's some pluses on this one. And let me flip and try to find my favorite one. Oh, I love this one. American flag, that one's super cute too. And these would be really quick, fast gifts, especially if you're sending out swap projects. Oh, here's my favorite one right here. This one's called Spokes. I love the idea of all these super tiny pieces of fabric in that circle. Great idea. I love that pin cushion so much. Not sure how hard it is sewing with those little strips, but I'm game to try for sure. Some little houses over here. And this one's a cube. That one's really cute too. I like that shape. And here's another one with some little hand-pieced hexagons on it. And I think that's it. So a really cute book. My mom came over the other day and she picked up this book and she's like, what is this? I'm going to make this one, this one, this one. She pointed out all the ones she'd like to make. So definitely for me, I'm making that one first. But again, this is called Pin Pals and it's written by Carrie Nelson. So I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, do you have a pin cushion in your sewing room? So I have a beautiful wool felted sort of round pin cushion that I got for my birthday a couple months ago in my sewing room. It's really handy. I really like the wool. I like how the pins feel sticking through the wool. But anyway, let me know your answer in the comments either on Facebook or YouTube. So I'm excited to get to this demonstration tonight for Odicoat. It'll be a quick demonstration, but my findings, I'm just really excited with the findings and I'm excited to share it with you in case you've not used this product before. So again, I'm going to step over to the side camera and show you the Odicoat. Okay, so this is Odicoat and this one's specifically made for fabric, and the purpose of this is by brushing it on your fabric, it makes the fabric waterproof. So in the past, when I wanted to make fabrics waterproof, I either purchased them already laminated from the quilt shop or online, or I ironed on a laminate fabric like Pellon. Pellon makes one that creates quilting cotton, turns it into a laminate. But I was really excited to try this and I was super pleased with how it came out. So I made, last night before the show, I took a scrap of fabric and I applied the Odicoat. Let me open it up just so you can see what it looks like on the inside. So it's just a liquid, kind of like the thickness of glue paste, yeah. And you're supposed to apply 3 different coats and let it dry for 24 hours. So I'm gonna just read the directions off the back. Put fabric on a flat protected surface, and I've got my surface over here. I have to mention, when I made this little sample, I used a piece of cardboard with some printing on it, and unfortunately I didn't think about it. Danny mentioned it to me, but some of the printing from the cardboard transferred to the back of my fabric. So you want to use something that's plain without printing or white. Hopefully this is not too shiny on camera, but I have another piece of quilting cotton, no Odicoat on this one, so I can show you how it's really easy to apply it. So I just took one of Violet's thicker brushes just so it wouldn't take me forever to paint this on. And you just want to liberally apply it. You can actually see it kind of looks, maybe you can see it on the brush, it looks a little bit bluish. That's really helpful, especially when you're working with darker fabrics, so that you can see, obviously it looks shiny because it's wet like glue, but I feel that the blue tinge is really helpful for seeing where you applied it. So you just want to make sure it's a nice even coat. And the instructions call for 3 coats, or suggest 3 coats, and each coat should be applied an hour apart. Okay, and so when I get to this edge, I'm just going to brush it in the opposite direction. So as you can see, super easy to apply. Obviously you can use bigger pieces of fabric if you are going to be cutting out your fabrics. And the thing that I was so pleased about, not only the even finish in the finished sample that I made last night, but I was also pleased because it's really thin. So I've purchased, let me put this one to the side for now, I've purchased laminated fabrics in the past And the problem with laminated fabrics that I've purchased in the past is that they're rather on the thick side. So depending on your project, sometimes the thickness of the laminated fabrics makes them a little bit more trying to sew, but not this. This is basically the thickness of the quilting cotton. So really nice. It looks to me, to my eye, it looks to be an even finish. Actually, Violet painted the second and the third coats on it, so she did a great job. And also in the instructions on the container of Odicoat, you can press this, and they suggest pressing it a full day after you apply the last coat, but they suggest using parchment paper to press it just to protect your iron the first time you press it. So when I finished the 3 coats of Odicoat on the fabric, it was a little bit ripply, not majorly, but definitely something that I would want to press. And so I just had some parchment paper at home from baking, and I just took my iron, I put it within the parchment paper, and it pressed really nice, and I liked the finish of it. And now it's ready to apply to your interfacing or whatever you're using this laminated fabric for a bag. So I'm going to jump back over to the main camera. I think there's a couple things that I wanted to read off the back of the container of Odicoat. I think I mentioned everything about the drying for 24 hours. Use parchment paper for protection. The fabric may be laundered in warm water, and obviously it's ideal for toiletries, accessories, bags. It's great, especially for if you're making cosmetic bags, like maybe if you're using one of the minikins for a cosmetic bag and you'd like the lining to be easy wipe clean. Another great thing about this, it says on the packaging, no acids, no solvents, and no odors, which was a plus for me since I had last Sunday when I was demonstrating the ruler grips. That one spray that I used had a terrible odor, so very happy that this one does not have an odor. And I feel like it's a rather large jar, so this will last forever for tons and tons of projects. But anyway, this is Odicoat, and it's Odicoat O fabric, so it's made specifically for fabric. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I'm super happy that I finally tried out some of the Odicoat. Very pleased with the finished results. I'd like to invite you now, if you're watching on Facebook, if you enjoy our live videos, our sewing tutorial videos or bag making videos, to go ahead and hit the share button right now. Share this sewing video with your other sewing friends on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, I hope, especially if you enjoy the videos, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified every time we go live or when we come out with a new sewing tutorial video. Regardless, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we really do appreciate the likes, which is the little thumbs up icon. So thank you so much for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. So I'm going to answer some questions live in just a second. So if you have a question for me, either a bag making related question, sewing question, question about a notion or tool, go ahead and type your question in the comments right now, either on Facebook or YouTube. In just a second, Danny's going to put some questions on the screen, and I'll answer them, as many as I can, live. I also wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway, and I know she's watching because I saw her comment on the screen right at the beginning of the show, but the winner of last week's giveaway was Tammy Huff, so congratulations to you, Tammy. Tammy won some great 6 great rolls of cork fabric, so congratulations and thank you for entering. We have another giveaway at the end of this show, but after the questions. Christine says, how does it sew? Does the needle go through easy? Yes, I found it was really easy to sew with. My machine really liked the thin layers, yeah, I just did a really quick test sew, but it was great and I was super pleased with it. Joanne says, can you wash it? I think there was something on the packaging about washing. Fabric may be laundered in warm water. Hopefully that helps. That was directly from the packaging. Linda says, is a Teflon foot needed? I did use a Teflon foot on mine. I had the Teflon foot on my sewing machine from using the cork fabric for my reason-to bag, or a walking foot would be okay as well.
They're asking if you can put water on it. Multiple people.
Water on it.
He spreads water. They want to see how water reacts to it.
Oh, okay. We have some water over here. Can you switch back over to the side camera?
Absolutely.
Okay. Danny said there were some questions about if you could spritz water on it, like what does it look like? So I've got a...
What does it do? Does it bead up?
Yeah, if it beads up or not. I did not test that before the show, but got a water bottle here. Let me just seal it back up so I don't get water near the computer. Okay, so here's, you could see the water on here, and yeah, it's just beading up. Yeah, just beating up. So yeah, definitely really easy to wipe clean, and oh yeah, it looks great. Sorry. I'm very fascinated with the Odicoat today, as you can tell. Hope says, why do you sew away from the seam when you are making a strap? I'm not sure if you're talking about the top stitching. I usually use 1/8 of an inch seam allowance for top stitching the long edges of the strap. If that's not what you meant, go ahead and leave a follow-up comment, and Danny will try to look for that and pop that one on the screen.
Did you get the do you need Teflon foot for sewing with that Odicoat?
Yes, I mentioned that already. Okay, here we have another one coming up. Patty says, did I miss it? How long is the bracelet? So there's actually instructions on the website for the bracelet. The company's called I Love Handles. There's instructions for measuring your wrist so that you get the proper length, and again, it does wrap around your wrist twice.
People had earlier said, would the leather stretch out as well?
Danny said there was a question about the leather stretching. No, it's not stretchy leather. It's pretty thick. It's thicker than the cork that we sell if you've ever used the cork before. So Doreen says, will you have acrylic templates for any of the new 4-pack videos? Let me think. Not immediately. We're still waiting for, Ed is still working on the Sublime bag templates and the Cumberland backpack templates. I'll have to look at the new Park Sling backpack. The pieces might be too thin and big, especially for the side panel, this piece right here. This is a really big piece and it's pretty thin. So we'll have to take a look at that and see if it'll be feasible, because we're always concerned. We don't want to have any pieces breaking on you or anything like that. Harriet says, can you reuse the brush after applying Odicoat? You sure can. There's actually instructions. I think I read it on the packaging. You're supposed to rinse your brush after using the Odicoat with warm water, which is what we did, and it came out really nicely, and it was when the brush dried, it was nice and flexible like it was previously before we used the Odicoat. Jerry Lynn says, do you think the Park Sling backpack stays over the shoulder while using crutches? I need to make a backpack purse while I'm on crutches for 6 weeks. I'm not sure. Danny, what do you think?
If you use it as the cross sling, yeah, it'll stay over your shoulder.
It is going across your body, so I suppose in that case,
yeah, it's going to stay on your shoulder.
Crutches, yeah, it's
a backpack that falls off your side.
Yeah, so it's not even like in the way of a crutch on either side, so I think it should be okay. Yeah. Janet says, Sarah, what is the difference between hand rivet press and a hand press snap setter like you have? So the snap setter tool, which I think I have it over here, I was organizing earlier today. So the snap setter tool just installs snaps, which are not magnetic snaps. They're, I call them sometimes pearl snaps. So this is only for a specific snap. The rivet press that I have different dies for rivets, grommets, making holes. And I do have a video on my YouTube channel in case you'd like to see my rivet press. I talk about the different sizes of dies and the different sizes of rivets and other items that I use. So look for that video. I also briefly talk about a hand rivet press in that video, but I find that the tabletop press, while a bit more expensive, is lots easier to use than the hand press, especially sometimes my hands feel a little sore and not as strong as they used to feel, at least. Have you ever used image transfer sheets? If so, what is your favorite? I have a digital image I would like to use for an Epicure pouch. I have not. I'll write that on my list though. Maybe I can demonstrate it on a future show. Image transfer sheets. Thank you. What is the name of the fabric on the Sling backpack? This one was designed by Cotton and Steel, and the designer is Rashida Coleman Hale. I think this was from the black and white fabric line. I think the fabric came out, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, but I think you probably can still find some online or at your local quilt shop. Patricia says, is there a tutorial for the Tudor bag? We do have a video available for purchase for the Tudor bag. If you just go to sewsweetness.com, I have a graphic in the middle of the screen for online workshops, and if you click on that, all the patterns with available videos for purchase will be listed there, and the Tudor bag, as its alphabetical order, should be near the bottom of the list. I'm looking to get shelving for my sewing room. Where did you get your shelves from? So these are actually behind me. These are Billy bookcases from IKEA. They're just white bookcases. They come in different finishes as well. I'm assuming brown and black. And I actually purchased, they have an extension, which is just basically the size of one segment of the bookcase. So I have an extension that I purchased for my Billy bookcases that I added to the top, which makes my bookcases from floor to ceiling. So it just gives me a little bit of extra space. So I have, how many do we have here? I have 3 behind me right over here. I think I originally purchased 4. What did we do with the 4th one, Danny? When we redid our sewing room, we used one of the bookcases somewhere else.
Gaming room next door.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's in the other room. But I have 3 behind me right now and holds tons of fabric. But always, as always, the more space you make for yourself, the more stuff you buy, and the quicker it gets filled up. Janice says, is there something heavier than SF101 Shape Flex? So it depends on what you're using it for. When I'm using Shape Flex, I usually use it for lining fabrics, but if you're looking to bulk up your fabrics, I'm not sure if you're looking to make a tote bag with something a little bit thicker than the SF101. If that's the case, I might recommend either fusible fleece or Pellon Thermolam. Pellon Thermolam is also a fleece interfacing that's fusible. It's just a little bit thicker. Basically, it's a needled fleece. So if you're a quilter, maybe you're familiar with Warm and Natural batting. That's also a needled product. So it's similar in look and feel to that, except it has the adhesive, which makes it fusible. So I feel like it's a little bit smoother on the wrong side of my fabric than the fusible fleeces, but both of those would be options if you're looking to beef up your like a tote bag style of bag. Mirta says, what bag would you recommend for a crossover bag? Not very hard. Let me look over here. It's hard because I've taken a lot of the bags out of the sewing room. I was thinking possibly the Polaris bag. That's a small bag. The strap could be made longer or adjustable to make that one a crossbody. I don't know. Everyone help me out. Leave me a suggestion for Mirta in the comments.
Nikki
for
said the satellite bag.
Nikki's recommending the satellite bag. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's sort of a medium-sized bag. What else? The Kennedy bag behind me. That's a free pattern and video. The blue one back here. Hope says, when you demoed the strap for the Metro bag, you sewed the hook away from the strap. Let's see. I'm going to grab that. I think you're talking about this one. I don't know. I must be tired tonight. It's not ringing a bell. I'm sorry. Hope, please email me after the show. My email is sarah@sewsweetness.com, Sarah with no H, and we'll get to the bottom of this. So sorry. Just one of those nights. I think my stomach's growling and thinking about dinner already. Late dinner, clearly. All right, Danny, are you calling the questions for tonight, or are you still looking?
No, there's just a lot of comments. I'm going
okay.
Questions.
Michelle says, what was the name of the fabric you used on the Reason to Bag? It's beautiful. So this was, I picked this up on Etsy. This fabric, I've always wanted to get this Marimekko fabric. I feel like it's sort of their signature print, but it's a pricey fabric. It's a Scandinavian designer. I picked this up on Etsy. I think it was $45 plus shipping a yard, and I had it shipped from overseas, but I figured...
what?
Yes, that's how much it costs, but I think I only used half of the yard to make this, maybe a little bit over half, so I still have plenty of fabric for another project, and I don't know, it's just one of those fabrics that I felt like I had to have in my stash, or have to use, rather. Shirley says, how many zippers and pockets on the sling bag? So you can probably see the 2 zippers on the front. This front section is home to a zipper pocket, and there's also a slip pocket. Danny, you have your cell phone on you? Thank you. So the slip pocket in here, if you'd like to have your cell phone in there, it fits right inside. If I was using this bag, I haven't used it yet, but I'd probably put my wallet in that zipper pocket on the inside. And there's also a main compartment, which this second zipper opens up. I was trying to keep the bag looking nice until I had time to photograph it, but the main compartment, let me see if I can open that up, has another zipper pocket. You can see that white zipper. There's also a mesh pocket. Sorry, I'm trying to hold it up so you can see it. There you go. There's that mesh pocket over there. So the main compartment can hold like a water bottle. I'd probably put like a light sweatshirt in there possibly if my kids ask me to hold anything. So again, the front compartment over here, let me give you your cell phone back before I forget, Danny. So the front compartment over here is just for like slim items like cell phones, wallets, that kind of thing. And then this is the main compartment over here. So the main compartment measures about 2.5 inches wide on size small. Ethel says, what size zipper do you use on the Park Sling? Can you use a size 5 zipper? So yeah, I did use handbag zippers on both of these front zippers, and the zippers on the inside zipper pockets, those were just number 3 dress skirt zippers. Hillary says, is there going to be a Sublime sew along soon? I think Michelle, I know Michelle's watching because I just saw her comment, but I think Michelle said sometime in March. So I'm assuming they'll announce the dates and what your assignment will be for each of the dates coming in the next few weeks. And we'll let you know on the live shows as well as on social media as soon as we get that schedule going. Sheila says, we made the Polaris bags for crossbody use. Just lengthen the strap to 54 inches and put in a slide adjuster. Thank you so much, Sheila. Bonnie says, dash would be a good crossbody for Mirta. Oh, that's a good one. Sonia says, the Oriole bag is a perfect crossover bag and it's easy to make. The Oriole bags are free video and pattern, and it's available in 2 different sizes if you're interested in that one. And Tammy says, the Baker Street bag can be modified with an adjustable strap to make a crossbody. I did with mine and it worked perfectly. Awesome. Thank you everybody so much for chipping in. Diana says, where did you purchase the Odicoat? It's actually linked to in the description. If you're interested, and I linked to the Odicoat makes a couple different fabrics. Oh, the price?
Both.
I think the link that I linked to in the description, I think it was around $15. And you want to make sure you get the one for fabric because Odicoat also makes other products for other things besides fabrics. Cindy says, Sarah, when purchasing fabric for your stash, what amount do you typically purchase? So if I may be using it for a bag, I'll purchase a yard. If it might be for a quilt, sometimes I often buy bundles for fabric lines, and if that's the case, often it'll be either half-yard pieces just because I can potentially use those half-yards for bags. Oftentimes I don't buy as many fat quarters just because for a bag it's awfully hard. It's got to be sort of a smaller project like something like this to fit a fat quarter. Michelle says, Bronwyn and I are hosting the Sew Along in March. We decided that so I have time to recover after my surgery. We'll announce when we're ready to start. Keep watching the page. Yeah, the Facebook group is, especially if you're on Facebook, that you'll want to join that, and that's where we they post a lot of the Sew Along details as well as the albums for posting pictures of everyone's progress for the Sew Along. Vic says, heard you mention something about a 4-pack video. I'm new. What is that? So the 4-pack video bundle is, we do this a few times a year. It's 4 brand new videos which have not been released before, along with 4 PDF patterns. This time it's 2 brand new patterns and 2 older patterns. The 4-pack video bundle is usually only available for a little bit over a week. This time it's only going to be available for 11 days and then the bundle goes away forever. We sell the bundle for $40, so it's basically $10 for each pattern and video set, which is a great savings, especially if you're interested in a few of the projects. Normally I sell my PDF patterns for $9, so at $10 it's just a little bit more than buying the PDF pattern by itself. I will also be making available the patterns and videos separately, so if you're only interested in one, you can just buy the one that you're interested in, and we'll be posting those later on in the week. We'll let you know. I'll be sending out a newsletter. We'll let you know on social media, and we'll also have a trailer video and other videos available so you can see the projects in great detail. But these are 2 of the projects: the Park Sling backpack in 2 different sizes, the Reason to bag in 3 different sizes. Danny, can you possibly unhook me for just a second so I can go in the other room, or is that a pain? I have another project right over here. I just can't.
They're not gonna be able to hear you.
Here's the 3rd project. This is the Aragon bag, which is a great either diaper bag, or I use it as a carry-on travel bag. Here's another Aragon bag that I made. smash the top a little bit. And the fourth pattern is knitting project bags. I don't have those handy right now to grab those, but it's the knitting project bags are 3 different styles of bags, and I'm really excited about that one as well, even though I don't knit or crochet, but maybe I will have to learn. Deb says, what skill level is the sling bag? I feel like most of my patterns are intermediate level, just because, especially with the videos, I feel like the videos make just about every pattern accessible to everyone. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen beginners make, I've seen many beginners make, like for instance, this bag is their first bag. So I feel like especially with the videos, it's doable. You just want to break, especially if you're newer to bag making, you just want to especially break everything up in manageable chunks. For instance, I hardly ever, I would say never, it never happens where I cut out my fabric and interfacing, fuse my interfacing, and then start sewing. I always do that task the night before so I can start sewing on a fresh mind at the beginning of the day, and I have all that stuff, all the prep work taken care of the night before or the day before, and then just break everything off into chunks. I mean, it's all separated in video by sections in the pattern, and you certainly aren't required to make the whole project in one day. Just pace yourself and take your time and enjoy the process, and I think the videos make the patterns accessible for everyone. Dawn says, will you be getting Tula Pink's new fabric? I will be getting it. This is a little snippet of it. It's a fabric line that features a unicorn. This fabric line is called Pinkerville, and it's coming out in March, and I do have it on order, so as soon as we get it in, I'll let you know on the live shows and on social media. Anita says, can you waterproof a bag after it is made? That's a good question. I'd probably suggest deciding that before you start sewing the bag, just because, as I mentioned when I was demonstrating that Odicoat, after I applied the Odicoat to the fabric, it was a teeny tiny amount ripply, which, you know, I had to iron it using that, not freezer paper, parchment paper, sorry. So if you used it on a finished bag, it might be a little bit more difficult to get everything ironed out flat. Yeah, so I definitely prep your fabrics either with an iron-on laminate or the Odicoat, or purchase a laminated fabric before you start sewing the bag together. Lillian says, Sarah, any idea when you will be doing an ironing tutorial? It's still on my list. I'm sorry I haven't gotten to it yet. I had plans for some helpful products to show you, to share with you, to make ironing easier, and I have not yet had a chance to pay attention to those products, so it's still on my list. I promise I have not forgotten about it. Susan says, can you do a tutorial to add a long water bottle pocket to a backpack? So I actually have a video on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure if this is what you were thinking, but I have a video on how to add a side pocket to any bag, and that includes a mesh pocket. I think I talked about 2 or 3 different kinds of side pockets, including the mesh. So check my YouTube channel for that. It's also on my website under the tutorial section of the site. All right, Danny's looking through for some questions. Lots of comments. I actually forgot to have my water handy today. Les, and I think it was Karen on one of my recent live shows, suggested that I should be drinking water before the show and during the show because it will help my dry throat. And oh, Danny's calling the questions. Anyway, I forgot to have my water handy. I will have to remember that for Tuesday's show. So let's get over to the giveaway for tonight. As in the past few weeks, I'm giving away 6 rolls of cork.
Water right there.
Yeah, I know, but it's not within reach.
It's right there.
Still trying to have some cork, find some new homes. So we have tons of short ends of cork down in the studio, and by short ends I mean like 17 by 54 inches, something like that. So big pieces of cork. So I've got.
Sure, get a drink of water.
No, I'm fine. I got 6 rolls of cork included in tonight's giveaway. 1 randomly drawn winner. I'll be choosing at the end of the day this Saturday. Will win all 6 rolls of cork. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is type this in the comments either on Facebook or YouTube on the video that you're watching right now. And the question is, what is a skill you'd like to learn? It doesn't have to be sewing related. Perhaps you'd like to learn how to swim, or snowboard, ice skate. Let me know in the comments what is a skill you'd like to learn. So thank you so much for watching Social Sunday. I hope you had a great time. I sure did, especially still excited about that Odicoat. But I hope you have a great week and happy sewing. See you next Sunday, everybody. Bye.